All right, welcome everyone to the first global user group meeting of 2024. To think through on that one. Thanks, Chris. I saw the hands up. Anyway, for your listening pleasure and all kinds of pleasure today, we have Tony who will go second. So it's Ralph first. And Ralph, did you ever get all the little pieces of what you're doing sorted out like really well, or just kind of sort of done? So are you still looking for like suggestions as you go through this?
Yeah, it works. It does what I thought it should do, but it has its limitations. And maybe we have a JavaScript expert around here, or any other suggestion while I go through my stuff. Just jump in and say, hey, why are you doing this way and not that way? I'm open. This was just, I will go into that in a minute. Just was the proof of concept based on a question from a teammate recently.
Perfect. So everybody heard that, right? Like, feel free to interject. I mean, we don't want this to take like, 2 hours, but totally.
No,
Feel free to interject, raise your hand, or just unmute yourself and go like, yo, wait, why are you doing it that way? You could just do it this other way. Or that might be something also to take offline. Like, I have a good way to do this, but it's a little too long to like get in here, but it would do something like this. So ping me afterwards or something. So anyway, I suppose, oh, Sean, my, hope everything's okay. Anyway, Ralph, I guess you can take it away. If you want to start presenting and do your thing, I will zip it.
Okay, I clicked on share my screen.
Yep, we see it.
See my background. Yeah, this the topic today was based on a question from a former teammate now since 1 week, from Bojan, who's also online. I saw. Hi, Bojan. And he asked in our internal teams Cribl channel if it's possible to do geotagging with Cribl stream. And immediately I said, yeah, no problem, because I was having a geo IP lookup in my head, which is kind of implemented. Still some manual work to do, like importing the DB, etc. Yeah, this is given, but there's no geotag in a way of you have events with coordinates, latitude, longitude, and then you say, okay, this is in a given area or is close to another point, stuff like this. And that's what I poked proof of concepted during the year break, just out of curiosity. And this is the result of it. So this is basically, this is, by the way, the result of giving the Bing image creator some headwords of this talk. Some fence with goats and a satellite and some mint-colored triangle for the Cribl. Yeah, I'm Ralph. I did already like 2 or 3 user group talks, so some of you may know me already. I work for a Cribl partner in Germany and also do sometimes stuff with Cribl in my private time, and sometimes I talk about it here. Yeah, this is about doing geotagging / geofencing just with Cribl stream, not going to any external third-party API, which is, I guess, pretty easy. So like Google Maps API or whatever, OpenStreet, you can what I show here, you can do easily and out of the box with these portals. But the idea is to just use stream, so you don't have to go to the internet for use cases where you don't have internet, for example, or where you're not allowed to send coordinates from your systems to a third party, or other reasons. I have some arguments for this, also idea of use cases. This is maybe also discussion point where maybe you have your ideas how this could be used. Yeah, like I said, it was an idea from a teammate, and with the pipeline that I created, it's now possible to have a location in your event, and you can say, okay, this location is within a defined area or not. So geofence, then you can do like I wrote here already with only with the webhook destination, you have millions of possibilities to react on based on that outcome. So you can say your goat is out of the fence, then give me a Slack alert or call the police, whatever you want to do. Yeah, and how I did it, or how you can do it, this is one way. Of course, there are different ways, I guess, but this is the one way I now yeah, tried, and it works. So you create first a lookup with your geofence, which is, as you can see in the screenshot, the most basic. Geofence is maybe a circle or a square is the most basic. We have 4 or at least or 5 points because it needs to be a closed circle. So 5 coordinates, and then you can define a squared fence around your goat farm in this example. Then in your pipeline, you pass the latitude and longitude from your events and check these against the lookup that you created based on the KML or data. Yeah, and then you label or tag the events based on an outcome. So you can either say it's in the defined area, yes, no, or other things. Yeah, and then the next is how exactly. So technically a little bit deeper how I did it. So this here, I think I have it open in Chrome. Yeah, this is Google Earth, basic, no, I don't know, add-on or apps. Just when you load Google Earth, should look like this. And then I, just to have an example, I took a goat farm in the Netherlands, and to create the fence, you just to add polygon, whatever you call it, and then you click it around your desired area. And then the last click should be on the on the first dot again, so you have a closed shape. And then you can save that to a project. I already did that with the goat farm here, and then you have entries like this here on the left. So the fence around this building here is a goat farm, and in this menu you have the option to export the definition of the area as a KML file, which is more or less an XML file with some Google, say, style or Google way of defining geo things. I downloaded that one just so I can show it to you. So there's a little bit, there's more stuff than you need, like colors or of the lines, etc. But what you really are looking for is that part. It's within this polygon tag, and in the middle, within the coordinates. This is the coordinates that define this square that I draw here. And then you, in this case, it's only, I think I also wrote it here. You have to transform the data now. In this case, it's only 4 or 5 coordinates, so you just do it manually, I guess. If it's hundreds or thousands of coordinates, of course, you take some scripting, or in one case, I just use a Notepad search and replace function to replace comma 0 with line breaks, and yeah, and then add these things here. So I have 2 more fields that I need in my in the way I set it up in Cribl. I have a country and an area field to call the lookup. So Germany and NRW is North Rhine-Westphalia. This is the state or Bundesland that I'm in. Yeah, so you have the coordinates taken from Google Earth, put it in a CSV style format, and then you upload that one to Cribl. I will show how it looks like in Cribl when I jump to the demo part. Yeah, we had that. Then the key element of this use case is yeah, stolen or inspired from somewhere on the internet. Yeah, on this page here, and I'm not still did not look in detail what kind of website that is, because I maybe have a copyright issue here. I come to that in a minute. But if you go here, and I think I also have that one open. That's some kind of code learning website, and they took exactly this use case that I needed. And just before Christmas, you could click on solve problem and also have the JS code that solves this problem. Right now, I only see the C++ code. I don't know if you know it, you can probably easily convert it. It's not so complicated. See, yeah, and I'm not sure if I just I think for this proof of concept, it's okay. It was just a test. I don't use it for commercial things, but if I want to publish it as a blog, or if you want to make use of it for your customers, I guess I will have to, write an email or read something here in that menus. I'm not sure if we can just use it or maybe recreate it. But the idea is it's pretty easy when you look at it. So first, the definition, the green point here is inside, this is outside, just to make things clear. And the logic is that you write from each of your points in your events, you write a line to the right, or if you look at maps, to east, to infinity. And then you count how often this line crosses one of the borders of your polygon, or edges, how it's called in a Google language. For example, yeah, first, and the rule is if the number of intersections with the polygon is odd, then it's inside the area, and if it's even, then it's outside the area. For example, F here is intersecting one time, that's an odd number, is inside the area, which is obviously true. Point B crosses two times, here, 1, 2, and it's outside. And yeah, I did during Christmas, I did some very complex polygons on with pen and paper, and it works that way. So that
But it does only work though for convex polygons, right? If there was a divot where it came in significantly, that might not.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it
still
even
does
work.
work. Yeah, no, you're right. It still does work. I had to
Yeah.
think that one through, but I was like, ooh. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, try it with on a paper. It just works.
Huh.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Well, the most complex thing is still a kind of circular. I think it's the border of my state is around 2,000 points, but not very. Yeah, it's still kind of round. But it would even work with some with a lot of chaos in it. Let's say. Yeah, unfortunately, until last year at least, there was also the JS code provided to solve that problem, and it was not so much hassle to put that into a stream code function. I just had to change the input variables to come from the event. So maybe the annotation or the syntax to go or to get to the object of the event. It's W_E and then field name. So I need let and long field with the coordinates in the event, and then once the code run, the outcome, if it's in the area or not, will be again put to a new field. Is in area, which is a Boolean, going to true or false, and then you can do different stuff when the following functions based on that information. Yeah, and to test my stuff, I installed OwnTracks app for my Android for some days. Then it's just you can configure to send coordinate of the mobile to a HTTP endpoint, which is my Cribl cloud instance. Yeah, it's coming in JSON, so it could be easily parsed. And you would see that in a minute. And like I said before, I'm not sure about copyright of that code that defines if the point is in the area or not. So I probably won't publish it until at least I find something that makes me think it's okay. Okay, demo time. I think I have opened the stream already. Yeah. So this is my free stream tier instance, and just take a quick look at the lookup for. So the one I'm using is this one. It's also like the one we draw around the goat farm, like 5 points. So a 4-point square with another. So the first one should be repeated. Yeah, first and the last is the same. So you have the ID comes from Cribl. You don't really need it. So you have country, area, and position, which is one field that I regex later to the latitude and longitude. So just so you saw the lookup once, how it's set up in Cribl. And the pipeline for this use case, I sent the result to Grafana because it has some nice built-in geo mapping features. I started with Humio because that's my go-to free analytics tool, but they don't have a not so good geo mapping integration. All right, so this is a sample. There's a lot of more stuff like the battery of my smartphone, etc. But what we're interested in is latitude and longitude. And the outcome is this, and in this case, okay. In this example, I wasn't in that area that I defined here.
Right.
But let's, yeah, this is a question or no? Okay.
Nope.
Just quickly go through what the pipeline does. So the first one is just a parser. So it JSON parses this stuff here into fields that you can work with. Then, because I notice sometimes I get events because it's an import in the internet. So sometimes there are events coming in with nothing or garbage, and then of course the parsing of the lat and long field doesn't work, and then I just drop these. Then eval, yeah, let's. This is to mock up some things. Like country, I need this. This is the base key, let's say, to get the data from the lookup. As you saw, I had the country fields also in the lookup, and I just use this one to get all the data. And now this latitude and longitude is mock up now. So I fake it for you now. This point is within that area that we look up. So I activated it now because obviously I have examples here that are not in that area. Oh. Yeah. Okay, then this is a group of functions here. And what it does is the first lookup goes in and gets all from the lookup we looked at with the border. We look up the country. So Germany, GER was set as a field country, and so it gets basically everything out of that lookup. It was just a way to get all rows of the lookup, and it gets a field position from the lookup, which as you saw was I think he is removed, yeah, which is the collection of the positions of my array or the coordinates. Then the next lookup, I had to do two different lookups because this one needed the match all type, and then here we only want the first match to get the area field. Because in this case, in position you have different data in all rows, and you want all of them. And if I would do all matches here, I would have an array with 5 times the same value. So here do the match type first match to get only the area one time. And then the code. This is what I found on this website that I'll show you. Everything, most of it was not changed, let's say, only here in the last part where the variable, the input and output is defined. And some, I did this, some things for debugging, but basically the main part is that you create a new point object, which is defined more above based on the lat and long field. And
I don't see it on my calendar yet, but just invite me, I'll be there.
Hey, Peter, you mind muting yourself? We heard that. We can invite you too, by the way.
Yeah.
No worries.
Okay, so the input is taken from the event here, and then once it's done, or if it's called, it's by itself, and then returns it was in the area, true or false. So basically, the outcome when this function did run is in area. I think I remove it on the way. It took me a while, but it would be just a Boolean with true or false, and it's saying the coordinate from this event is within the area defined in the lookup, in this lookup. And I think most of the following stuff is for the POC or for this talk. Yeah, for example, that I basically at the end there will be, like you see here, and one coordinate for the position. So this is basically what you have in the let and long field, and one field for the area. This I will show it in Grafana. This is one random coordinate of the area, and because there are, usually like at least 2 positions per minute, over time I have all the points of this area also just for visualization reasons. Yeah, this is what I just said. This is randomly taken one position from the array, but it's not really part of this logic to define the. All right, and yeah, numify. This was also, I think I wrote it also here. Some of the latitude field wasn't really numbers, so I just numified everything that looks like a number, and then it works. So let me save it and commit it, because I changed instead of taking the latitude and longitude from the event, I did this activate my test numbers here, which are within the area. So let's see. Yeah, so there was a lot of change now, but the logic is that you could also add more of this from this group. So like these 5 or 6 or 5 functions, you can copy that group and then use another lookup. And then if that also matches, you would have an comma separated list here, so areas. So PL68 is the area defined in lookup, and this event is part of it, so it's within that area. That's what we need in the downstream. Yeah, and then so that I can show something and one example use case maybe. So maybe now this area stuff that I talked about is a little bit more clear in Grafana. Let me go to maybe to edit mode. And I didn't know it, but it's pretty cool. In Grafana, you have different, or you may have different layers of map information. So I have one layer for the outs, so that the red dots, and the red is only based on what Cribl arrived. So there's this there's in the areas field there's none, or at least it's not PL68, the current area here. So it's red, and you define that here in this rules. You have 3 different queries, A, B, and C, and the query for the outs is query B. So it's just saying, give me all data in my repository, let's say, and do JSON parse, and then give me everything that has not the area tag PL68, and do that, put that in red on the map. Then the same for the ints, make everything green that does have areas PL68. So these are the goats within the fence. And then this is more, a little bit Query C is everything, and all the events have one random position of my area in it. So basically what you see here in purple is based on maybe 100 of the same point, and I choose the route visualization. So if I change that to be markers also, you see, okay, nothing right now. Usually it should be like 4 points.
Oh, one in each corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has the same color now. Let's do that to blue maybe. No, I don't see anything. But let's put it as I had it to roads. So this was just to somehow also visualize the area, and now I broke it. Location
The other
mode.
thing that always seems to happen in these somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, latitude area. No, well, I just do discard.
Yeah, there you go. Problem solved.
So purple is the area, green is the ins, and red's the outs. That's it. And now you can already do something in Cribl because you have all the information. If it's now we come to the use cases, let's think of your expensive e-bike. You put some technique in to send a location on a regular basis, and once Cribl sees it's in area false, then you can route that event to your Slack notification or whatever you have.
Right.
For
Yeah,
example, yeah,
all kinds of interesting ways you could use this, like the entire technique.
yeah. I did some brainstorming. Maybe there are more. But first, in general, oops, you have geofencing just with Stream, nothing else. You don't have to call a third party, pay for a third party.
Right.
Yeah, and sometimes it's also a legal or security question if you may even use third party. Yeah, therefore also possible for offline air-gapped environments. And you just, like everything that you do with Stream, you just do it once and not every time you load the Splunk dashboard and call the same lookup thousands of times a day. Yeah, then could be use case robot or exchange robot with anything. Is it where it should be running around, or you can count how many robots are in each storage zone and then balance it based on that information maybe. Then all our business cars from our fleet in the country, they are insurance in or not. Yeah, and private stuff like geofence, your bike, cat, kids, wife, husband, car, or of course your goats. Then yeah, the limitations is yeah, for each of area that I want to check, I have to have this group of 2 lookups, 1 code, and some evaling. I can combine or chain different lookup groups, let's call it, but I would have it to would like to have it more dynamically. So let's say you have a lookup like, let's maybe go to Node here. Let's say Germany is okay, but then another area, Bavaria, and then different coordinates, and then just 1 lookup and 1 function call, and then to say the input point is within the area North Rhine-Westphalia, Bavaria, or not, and it's in which country it is, so that it's more dynamic. Maybe someone with more JavaScript experience than me could make the code do that more dynamically. I'm not sure. Once I publish it, or once I find out that I may publish it, then I will put it in a Slack channel, and then you can, yeah, look at it, work with it. Yeah, one limitation is performance. This one has only 4 points. This is okay. It's only microseconds, but I like I said, I have one lookup with the borders of my state with 2,500 points in the lookup, and then it takes, well, it took about 1.5 seconds, so 1,500 microseconds to check 1 point against this lookup, and that, of course, is too slow for high volume stuff. So if you have more than one event per second, you would have load problems. So maybe this code can also be optimized based on looking at performance.
Right.
But yeah, it works and has potential to be optimized. And yeah, like I said, more times that I have to get questions answers about the copyright.
Great.
Yeah,
That was
thank you.
neat. Yeah. That seems like, it feels to me like that and the Redis stuff we've been learning are like the two things that I think are like the most generally applicable to all kinds of different use cases, different use cases. I think I've seen.
Even maybe in combination, like when you have the lookup definition in Redis.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks so much for that. Anybody has any questions?
Welcome.
Find you in Slack, right? By the way, Slack
Right.
is for me. You look in your own, whichever way that is.
Oh yeah. My cam is on on another screen, basically.
Yeah. So, great. Yeah. And if anybody has any suggestions or, so you're hoping to be able to publish that sometime in the near future. You just got to wait for those couple questions to get answered.
Right.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know then when that goes up, because I think there'll be people just trying to grab hold of it and play with it from there. So I guess thanks so much for that, Ralph. And then I guess we're up to Tony.
Hi. All right, let me get my screen all set up here.
I will mute myself again because I'm sure you can handle it.
Share screen. All right. You can all see the big Cribl in the execute command. Make sure I shared the right one. All right. So one of the things that I really needed to do was be able to run commands from my local machine. I was trying to get rid of all of the little scripts that I wrote to make sure I was actually capturing correct data. Sometimes, cron would, wig out a little bit. I would have no information of what happened, why it happened. So I started looking at a way to do this. So found the source of execute. So this lets you pretty much run anything, and there's like big caveats of like, hey, you can run anything, so be careful. You can mess yourself up because you're running it as the Cribl, whatever is running Cribl. That's the account that it's running. So from docs, it tells you what runs almost everything. You can do database queries, custom commands, which was kind of one of the things I was doing. Paying, pull the process list. But in my example, is actually the last one there, SNMP gets. And it does run on both stream, if it's on-prem, and then edge. I guess you could run it in cloud, but my two cases, I've done it on stream local and edge. So miles may vary on the cloud for stream. So in my use case, how I originally got involved with doing some of these SNMP polls was I needed to monitor my HVAC system. Okay, in data centers, we all do this. We want to know, make sure our servers are cool, but this is my house, this is my lab. Why would that be? It came down to a discussion my wife and I were having. She said it was cold. I said, no, it's not. she said, yes, it is. And after a little bit of back and forth, I needed empirical data to be able to say, no, it is not cold in the house. Lucky for me, my dad worked for a company called Geist, which does data center monitoring, and it lets them, be able to see everything that's going on within large data centers. Think of your favorite search engine and big providers, and that's who they were working with. So they had something called the Watchdog series that was more on the low end side, more for your your small data centers, your sitting in your basement of your company data centers, called the Watchdog series. So this lets you take two sensors, which I have the sensor below. I had two of those, and a little watchdog, and it keeps track of everything. And it has a little interface, and it can alert you and send SNMP pushes. But I wanted to be able to get more detail, so I needed the SNMP pulls. So I have two of these sensors. These sensors will so the internal will capture temperature, humidity, and dew point, I think. The gray sensor will actually capture airflow, temperature, humidity, and dew point. So let me actually, I put one in on the return side of the HVAC system, one on the outgoing, so I can see what is the air coming back in from the house after it's been heated or cooled, and what is it actually going out to the rest of the house, which is great and all. But when I'm getting the data, it's coming back, and I did a nice little quick SNMP walk. I'm just getting the MIBs and the values. So a little bit of playing, and I was able to figure out which one equaled what by looking at their web interface and kind of matching things up.
Mm-hmm.
So after dumping the SNMP walk, my original script was pretty gnarly. I grabbed all the data, created an epoch time, and then wrote it and appended it to the CSV file, essentially. And that's how it had been going for years. To go back, she was right. The house was cold. I just wasn't.
I already knew this answer. I mean, seriously? Because even if it wasn't, the answer is still going to be, well, it feels cold.
I was going to say, you're very brave. This would get me killed.
That's the great thing. We've known each other long enough that we can actually have discussions. So, and see, I say argument.
I've known my wife for a long time, and I know that this is not a discussion.
Yep. So it was all in fun, at the end, especially since she saw me going to, being crazy and getting data, because she knows that about me. So so in Cribl Stream, you set up a new source, just sources execute. In Edge, it's Edge, manage, more sources, execute, same screen for both of them. And it's actually really easy. You in the command, you put in the command. Since it's a text field, you don't need the extra ticks. So you can literally just run the execute command. In my case, SNMP get, give me in version 2C with the nice changed password there from the device, and give me my MIB. So that'll actually go out and reach and does the same thing as my command here that I was running directly from the Linux server. As you see in this section here, I had an awk that would actually divide by 10 sometimes. Some of the values, when you look, 742, even in freedom units, it's still not, a temperature of 74 or 742. It was 74.2. So from there, I'd get the data. And of course, what do? We pass it into a pipeline. So here I can do the the regex extraction because originally it came as, the raw integer colon space value. So I did regex extract. Nice, quick, easy regex extraction. I didn't even go greedy here. I went with the /d to make sure I'm only getting numeric values from the raw, and then I passed it on this one. I happen to need to do the divide by 10, so I could do an eval statement, just the temp internal equals temp internal divided by 10. So here you can see internal temperature 54.2. Yep, it was cold. So nice, quick, and easy way to make it look real easy. So in 2 steps, I literally was able to go from pulling the data to the data looks pretty to where I can send it to my destination. So the nice power of that execute command. So if anybody has any questions, the great thing is the docs team has done a phenomenal job. They even have some troubleshooting steps on the docs page. So if you have questions, easy to look that up, easy to ask questions. Of course, there's always Cribl Curious to ask more questions, or the Slack instance. Unless anybody has a question now.
Oh, that's kind of scary to be able to run anything, but I see you've noted, please understand the security and other impacts of the commands you run.
I stole that from docs just because they worded it so well. Yeah, you can, and I've tested. I did a shutdown, and yeah, it took it every 5 minutes. My machine rebooted for a while.
Yeehaw.
So
Oh yeah, something to be aware of, folks. So
well, that's just like there's another. Yes, Sean. I told you I love the awk command. So Sean Cannon actually had awk in his presentation from CribbleCon, and I kept, every time you would see that slide, I would yell awk just because, how many conference slide decks do you see that have awk command in there? So
alrighty. Well, I think that ended up being perfect amount of time. If nobody has any remaining questions, you can always ping Tony online. Everybody knows where to find him. So that's easy enough.
run the difference between this and script. I don't know. I haven't run script yet. I haven't played with that command. Anybody? I see Nth Degrees on here. They're pretty knowledgeable. Scott's really knowledgeable. Anybody else? Paul? You guys ever run script yet? For that
Not
command?
yet, but I was taking notes the entire time you were talking, and I've got some pretty wicked ideas on this.
Cool.
So thank you for
All
that.
right.
In fact, it was very, very timely too, because what I'm trying to do with this, and we'll share it once it's ready, is actually something I was going to be picking up in the next couple of weeks.
Cool.
Chuck, I know my slides will be available. Ralph, are your slides going to be available for people to get?
Yep. Yeah, the slides are okay. I can
Okay.
send it to you or to Rich. I don't know who can.
Yep. Yeah, send it to both of us, and then the write-up and the video will be posted on the Cribl Curious site to be able to pull the notes and find the video. So if you go to community.cribl.io and then go to user groups, under the global user group, you'll find the recap.
Right. Everyone, just a reminder again, it is 2024. Because, and we have a little more than a month before the next user group meeting, which will be February 13th, the same bat time, just different bat channel. And we are still looking for guest speakers. Again, it does not have to be long. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can even break your own stuff while you do it. In fact, sometimes those are the most fun. Even if it's 10 or 15 minutes of going through something, like Tony just did in a little under 20, like 15, I think. Absolutely. Stuff like that works great. either something neat you've done, something neat somebody else has done that you're going to steal, hopefully with permission. You know, or explaining something you finally figured out and that you think other people may benefit from. Because trust me, like, I don't know half of this stuff. It's all interesting to me. You know, or scaling something up gigantically. Or maybe somebody will have a whole new, like, and here's how you would convert Ralph's code into a real thing over here and call it this way. And, you know, I don't know. That sounds like fun too. So anyway, if that intrigues you or you think you might have an idea, just ping us in the Slack channel and we'll work something out. So I believe that would end our meeting for today. So if you'd like to stop recording, we can go ahead and say so long until next month.